We're all good? Okay.
Good.
So, good morning. The meeting of the Standing Committee on Music of the University Interscholastic League is now in official session. For the record, it is approximately 11:10 on Tuesday, June 16th, 2020. In accordance with the waiver to certain provisions of the Texas Open Meetings Act issued by Governor Greg Abbott on March 16th, 2020, and in the interest of avoiding large gatherings and promoting social distancing during this pandemic, this meeting is being held via teleconference and is streaming live. I am Kevin Worthy, Superintendent, Roy City Independent School District, and the chair of the UIL Standing Committee on Music. Other members of the Music Committee are LaTanya Goffney, Superintendent Aldine, Arturo Cavazos, Superintendent Harlingen Consolidated, Roland Hernandez, Superintendent Corpus Christi, Benny Swallow, Superintendent Huffman Independent School District, Jason McCullough, Superintendent, Mount Vernon Independent School District, Cliff Gilmore, Superintendent, Perrin Witt Consolidated, and Todd Pollock, Superintendent, Falls City. At this time, I certify that a quorum of the Music Committee is present. Before I toss it over to Dr. Kent to introduce the UIL staff, I would like to recognize Dr. Charles Brodeup.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I appreciate each one of you committee members joining us today on this unusual set of circumstances that you found to become more normal than you had thought ever possible. I appreciate your willingness to meet by Zoom. We're hoping to be back live in the fall, but this meeting is necessary. We have some action items you need to consider. I want to first say not only thanks to you, but thanks to our entire staff for the work that they've done during this so-called downtime. I believe that our staff would tell you something that you probably already know. They've worked harder when they've been away in many cases than they have while they're at the office. And I know what Brad Kent, Dr. Kent and his staff trying to get together solo and ensemble, that has so many moving parts. That's the largest contest that we have. About 20 to 25,000 participants each year, hundreds of judges and multiple sites, and the assignment of those rooms and accommodating all those students. My hat is always off to Dr. Kent and his staff. And I know each of you feel that same way. And Kevin, you served as chair of this committee for some time. You know the professionalism of Dr. Kent and his staff, and it just continues to go on and on. Even though we've not been able to get together live, they continue to work and put things together. I'm so happy that we're blessed to have Dr. Jamie Harrison as our deputy director. The work that he's done with the Commissioner of Education and with the governor's office and all the things that we're trying to do to push forward to move to a smooth opening of schools, and for our side, the activities. We want to have our state marching contest on schedule. We want our bands in the stands and participating on Friday night. And we have to wait for some hurdles to be cleared, but that's our hope and our dream. And it's a great work of Dr. Harrison that he's doing along with our staff, both academics and music today and later this afternoon with athletics that has enabled us to move forward. So I just want to say thanks to them. Gabe Masella and Becca continue to be shining stars, and I know Brad will want to say something about them, but just want to give some accolades to Dr. Kent and to this committee. So good luck today, Dr. Kent. I turn it back over to our chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Brodeup. And I echo those same words. I've just been amazed at how the UIL staff has been able to navigate through this situation and doing it with grace and also with a tremendous amount of communication. So we appreciate it. So Dr. Kent, I'll turn it to you so you can introduce your team.
Thank you, Mr. Worthy. In addition to Dr. Brodeup and Dr. Harrison on this call, we have the UIL music staff. First, Gabe Musella, Assistant Director of Music. Gabe's been with us just 2 years, but I can't tell you how hard he's been working behind the scenes to improve every aspect of what we do, especially during this pandemic time. He has worked countless hours on our prescribed music list update process we're in the middle of. So just can't say enough great things about him. And Rebecca Kins also is with us today, and she's our Senior Administrative Assistant in Music. And she's the one that makes all the magic happen behind the scenes and makes sure the rest of us are on task and doing what we're supposed to. And just can't say enough great things about her and her work, especially during these challenging times. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Kemp. And so we'll move in through our agenda, and the first item is adoption of meeting rules. Unless there is an objection from the committee members, this meeting will be conducted in accordance with the 2019-2020 Constitution and Contest Rules. Hearing no objections, it is so ordered. Our next item is adoption of the agenda. Unless there is an objection from the committee members, the agenda for the business meeting shall be set out in the posted agenda unless otherwise announced by the chair. Hearing no objection, the agenda is officially adopted. Committee, please listen carefully. Before proceeding in the agenda, I want to give you the instructions on voting. If you are connected on your computer, you will click on participants at the bottom of your Zoom screen. A list of all participants will appear. At the bottom of the participant list, you should see the option to click on yes or no. Council members who have called in, you will please enter *9 if you would like to vote aye. So I'll stop for a second. Is there any questions concerning how to vote? Okay, hearing none, we'll move into approval of minutes. Committee members, before you make a motion, we encourage you to state your name and then the motion. So at this time, committee members, you have received an electronic copy of the October 20, 2019 minutes. Do I have a motion to approve these minutes?
Kevin, this is Benny Swallow with Huffman ISD, and I move that we approve the minutes as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Jason McCullough, Mount Vernon, I second.
Awesome. We have a motion and we have a second. So at this time, committee, please vote using the method I described either in your participant list by entering *9 if you're on the phone. So please vote at this time and leave your vote up until UIL staff has recorded the vote and cleared the responses. Okay. Caroline, are we good?
Yes, you are good to move on.
Okay, thank you. So next item is statement of committee purpose. The purpose of this committee is to consider proposals for changes in the UIL Constitution and Contest Rules that have music-related aspects in order to report recommendations to the Legislative Council tomorrow on June 17, 2020. This meeting is a business meeting of the committee and not a public hearing. Presentations may not be made by outside groups or individuals. The UIL director, a designated member of the UIL staff, or even a council member not assigned to this committee shall be recognized to speak on any issue. Committee members, you have in your packet a list of motions which are often appropriate. This committee may take any action permitted by the UIL rules, including any of those you see listed or any other motion a member wishes to make. So at this time, we will move into old business, and the chair recognizes Dr. Kemp to discuss old business.
Mr. Chair, we have no old business to discuss at this meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Kemp. Committee members, there are no new old business to report, and so we'll move into our agenda item, and that'll be new business. So at this time, the chair recognizes Dr. Kent to discuss the new business.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The first item of new business we have is a written proposal, letter A on the agenda, from the public, from Angela Pace, asking UIL to increase limits on marching band practices and performances. Specifically, she would like to see us limit daily practice to 1 hour, not require students to stay after practice to get information, keep a strict clock, limit time spent at competitions that have a prelims and a finals, and limit the number of contests allowed, such as only one in a 2-week period. If competitions are kept as they are, she would like to see the competition time actually spent at the competition count towards the 8 hours, and all performances such as parades, community performances, and football games should be subject to the 1 performance per week rule. She goes on to say in her proposal that the reason the students are exhausted during the marching band competitive season. She does say too that the directors are not breaking the rules that are currently in place. I will tell you, in my opinion, for about a 5 to 6 week period from late September to early November, she can be right depending on what a band chooses to do. Oftentimes during this 5 to 6 week window, a band has their 8 hours of rehearsal outside the school day. Then they spend a long day on Friday supporting their school and their football team. And then they may have a marching band competition on a Saturday that creates another long day. So, it's very time intensive for a short period of time, but most of what she is mentioning can be controlled locally. I think she's just asking UIL to create more regulation. And many marching bands like to know too that the UIL marching band competition process is no more than 2 Saturdays. Many bands choose to attend other competitions that are not UIL competitions that can also add to this time commitment that happens during this period of time. Our recommendation at this point, unless you have another recommendation, of course, is to monitor this proposal.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Kent. So committee members, we have a recommendation from UIL to monitor this particular report. So at this time, is there any discussion? Anybody want any clarifying questions or things of that nature from a discussion standpoint? Okay. Hearing no discussion, I will entertain a motion from a recommendation from UIL staff to monitor this, staff monitor. Do I have a motion?
This is Roland Hernandez, Corpus Christi. I move to accept the staff recommendation.
Okay, we have a motion from Roland. Do I have a second?
Jason McCullough, Mount Vernon, I second.
Okay, we have a second. Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Any other discussion? Okay, at this time, I would encourage you to place your vote in the participant. Remember to participant list by entering yes or no vote.
Vote passed unanimously.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, we'll move to our next item, Dr. Kemp.
Item B is a written proposal from the public from Ronnie Sanders asking that school names be kept anonymous at UIL music events, in his opinion, to eliminate judge bias. So my understanding is what he would like to see happen here is that at UIL music competition specifically is what he's addressing here, that no name of the school is announced. I'm not sure, to be honest, we're not aware, nor has anyone brought to our attention the perception of judge bias based on the school name being called out. In our experience, most communities want to hear their school name called out. We do our best to train our adjudicators to adjudicate the performance that they're seeing and hearing. So I'm not sure that, in our opinion, this would address what he thinks it may address. Our recommendation at this point is no action on this proposal.
Thank you, Dr. Kent. We have a recommendation from UIL staff for no action. Is there any discussion on this particular item? Hearing no discussion, I'll entertain a motion at this time.
Kevin, this is Benny Swallow. I'll move that we accept the recommendation as proposed.
Okay, we have a motion from Benny. Do we have a second?
Tanya Goffney from Aldine, second.
All right, Latanya, thank you for the second. Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. At this time, please vote in the participant page.
The vote passed unanimously.
Thank you. All right, Dr. Kent, next item.
Item C is a written proposal also from the public from Ronnie Sanders, asking the UIL to prohibit adjudicators from conferring until the end of a contest. Currently, judges may confer throughout a contest only after assigning a rating for a school. So this would be at a ratings-based music event, not a ranked music event. We do not allow them to confer at a ranked event until the contest is over, but he's referencing ratings only. Mr. Sanders believes that this conferring can lead to a judge reducing or increasing his or her standard for each rating. In our experience, we find that most directors prefer that judges confer because it can help lead to a more consistent ratings process at the contest. For example, if a music group gets a 1-1-3, with 1 being the highest rating and 3 being a much lower rating than a 1, many times it's difficult to explain that to our students and our parents, why 2 judges thought we had a 1 and 1 judge thought we had a 3. And so what we find that during the event, if judges confer again only after they've assigned a rating, and it helps to sort of solidify and stabilize evenness of standard throughout the day. Our recommendation on this proposal is to monitor it.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Kent. We have a recommendation from UIL staff to monitor this particular proposal. Is there any discussion on this? All right, hearing no discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
This is Cliff Gilmore, Perrin-Witt. Entertain a motion to accept the recommendation.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the recommendation of monitor. Do we have a second?
Todd Pavelic, Falls City, second.
Thank you, Todd. We have a second. All right, at this time, we ask all participants to vote.
Vote passed unanimously.
Thank you. Dr. Kent.
Item D, we have 2 final written proposals that are similar, so we've combined them into one item in the agenda. They are written proposals from Dallas Dees and Joe Walker, asking us to change when a marching band may begin the marching preparation for their competitive show each year. Current rule states that August 1st is the first day that all marching bands in the state may begin this preparation, just like the state contest also culminates at the same time for every band each year. Mr. D's proposal would like to see this date changed to 26 days prior to the first day of school for a school district. He believes that this change would help districts of innovation better than the current rule. And Mr. Walker's proposal would like to see this date moved back to 3 weeks or 21 days prior to the first day of school. So essentially what they're asking us to do, if we were to do this, bands would have different start dates for learning their shows, but the culminating date would still be the same. So it could be perceived that there's a time advantage. The reason they're asking for this is because of the different starts to school. And so obviously if a school is starting on the 4th Monday of August, they have more rehearsal time in August outside of the school day than a school who might otherwise start earlier in August because of being a DOI, or even moving to another model that many school districts have been considering due to COVID-19. But our concern with this, again, that even though schools potentially could be in session, providing more days on the calendar could be an unfair advantage to those schools that could start the preparation process for their shows as early as theoretically the beginning of July or even earlier. And it also could take away from what limited summer break that many of our kids have. So our our recommendation on these two proposals is to monitor.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Kemp. We have a recommendation from UIL staff to monitor this proposal. Is there any discussion on this one? All right, hearing no discussion, I'll entertain a motion to monitor this proposal.
Jason McCullough from Mount Vernon. I move that we accept the recommendation of the staff.
All right, we have a motion from Jason. Do we have a second?
Benny Swallow from Huffman. I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Benny. All right, we have a motion. We have a second. At this time, we ask that you vote, please.
Vote passed unanimously.
Thank you. All right, so now we'll move into staff proposals. Dr. Kent?
Thank you, Mr. Worthy. Staff proposal A is similar to what is in rule for the other 5 conferences. This amendment to the Region Marching Band Contest would add a ranking process to the ratings process that is already in rule for 1A marching bands to advance to the state contest. So unlike the other 5 conferences, current rule advances any 1A varsity marching band receiving a Division I rating at the region contest directly to the state contest. The other 5 conferences have ranked contests to determine the bands that will advance to state. So this current 1A process is designed to account for the small number of 1A bands in the state compared to the other conferences. The current structure began in the fall of 2015 after UIL expanded to 6 conferences. And under this current rule, the number of 1A bands in the state at the state contest has grown almost 50% in just 4 years, from 13 bands in 2015, the first year, to 19 bands in 2019. And the 19 bands at the 2019 1A state contest comprised almost 50% of the 41 total 1A bands in the state. In contrast, the 17 2A bands at their last state contest were selected from 138 2A bands in the state. So you got a 50% advancement rate versus a 12% advancement rate. So UIL staff believes that this proposal would be a logical and reasonable next step to accommodate the growth and development of our 1A bands while raising the quality and experience for all qualifying schools. So in simple terms, what this proposal is asking is that 1A bands that receive a Division I rating at the region contest would still advance directly to state unless there are more than 4 that receive a Division I rating. If there are more than 4, we would then revert to a ranking process and an advancement formula that's similar to the other conferences. So we believe that this would be a moderate step to again, accommodate the growth and development of our 1A bands in the state. Our staff recommendation is to approve this in concept, and we'd like to bring it back to you in October for further consideration.
Thank you, Dr. Kemp. We have a recommendation from UIL staff to approve this proposal in concept and bring back to us in October. So at this time, is there any discussion on this proposal? Okay, hearing no discussion, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve in concept and bring back to us in October.
Roland Hernandez, Corpus Christi, move to approve.
We have a motion to approve from Roland. Do we have a second?
Second from Todd in Fall City.
Thank you, Todd. We have a second. All right, at this time, committee members, please vote.
Vote passed unanimously.
Thank you, Becca. Vote passes unanimously. And so we'll move into our next and final agenda item. Dr. Kent.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This amendment to the manual that's referenced in section 1115 of the CNCR, the State Mariachi Festival, would increase the number of judges. There's 3 parts to this proposal. The first part would increase the number of judges for all mariachis at the region contest from 1 judge to 3 judges, would send all mariachis to one of 5 regional sites. And the third part is to allow only traditional mariachis to advance to state. So little background on this proposal. In 2020, there were 108 experimental and traditional mariachis combined. So 108 in all conferences in the state that were assigned to 18 different regional sites and evaluated by only 1 judge at each site to determine if they were going to advance to state. These groups are currently unevenly located across the state, creating a scenario of as many as 24 at one site and as few as 1 at other sites. So that part of the proposal here is essentially an alignment question or alignment issue. Assigning every mariachi to one of 5 regional sites in the state, having every group evaluated by a panel of 3 judges instead of 1, and advancing only traditional mariachis receiving a Division I rating to state, we believe will more evenly distribute the schools to the contest locations, be more efficient, will also improve the overall educational and competitive experience for the schools by having 3 judges and allowing these groups to be around other groups from other schools and hear them and grow from them, especially in cases where there's only 1 at a site, and also increase the quality of the state festival. So the 2 categories we have that we developed when we started mariachi at the advisement of our ad hoc mariachi committee was to have an experimental division and a traditional division. The idea to grow and develop the activity, which we've seen a tremendous amount of growth. For example, in 2016 was the first year of our state festival. We had 55 groups that had qualified and attended. In 2020, just the 5th year, there were 82 groups that qualified and attended. So again, almost a 50% growth, kind of like 1A marching band. And these 82 were selected from only 108. And so we've had lots of dialogue with the mariachi stakeholders through this process. And they believe, what they're telling us is they believe that combining into these 5 sites as opposed to spread over 18 sites, increasing the number of judges from 1 to 3 to be consistent with our other music events, because we typically always have at least 3 judges for larger ensemble events. And also having traditional groups advance. So the experimental division is, you can have any combination of instruments if you want to try mariachi. So it's good for the novice school who is trying the activity for the first time. And to have a traditional mariachi, you have to have certain instruments in the group. You can also have non-traditional instruments, but you have to have a base of traditional instruments such as violin, trumpet, guitarrón, vihuela, and guitar. And also any of the singers have to also play one of those instruments. And so we would like to consider this. We feel like it's a logical and reasonable next step to accommodate the growth and development of mariachi programs in Texas. Our recommendation is approve in concept and bring back to you in October for further consideration.
Thank you, Dr. Kemp. We have a recommendation from UIL staff to approve in concept and bring back in October with this particular proposal. So I'll open it up to any discussion at this time. Okay, hearing no discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve in concept and bring back in October.
Art Cavazos Harlingen, I move to approve.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Latanya Goffney, Aldine, second.
Thank you, Latanya. Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. At this time, we ask that you vote.
Vote passed unanimously.
Thank you, Rebecca. Okay, Dr. Kent, thank you. At this time, I'm going to open it up to our committee members to see if they have any new business they would like to bring forward at this time. Okay, all right, thank you. We'll move into announcements and we'll turn it right back to you, Dr. Kent.
Thank you, Mr. Worthy. I just would like to say briefly, thank you to the committee for your flexibility during this difficult time. And as always, thank you for your support of activities that your students are participating in, certainly specifically UIL activities.
Thank you. So any other announcements or anything from UIL staff at this time?
Mr. Chair, tomorrow at 9 a.m., the policy committee convenes, and then 11, the entire council. So we look forward to having all of you on our council meeting at 11 o'clock.
Yes, sir. We look forward to everyone joining in at 11 o'clock. And so we know that this is kind of our new norm right now, and hopefully that'll change as we move into the fall. But like Dr. Kent said, we really appreciate you taking the time and joining in, and just all your support that you're doing for so many students and teachers and staff across the state of Texas. So you truly are wonderful leaders, and we thank you for that. Okay.
Hey, Kent, real quick. Just want to thank Charles and Jamie for all their heavy lifting with UIL. Gentlemen, I know that sleepless nights as you try to navigate this pandemic, and I appreciate your leadership and charge on. We're here to support you.
Thank you, Art. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Any other comments? Okay. Hearing none, then this meeting is adjourned. Again, thank you for attending this meeting. Unless there's an objection, this meeting of the Standing Committee on Music of the University Interscholastic League is now adjourned. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Chairman.